Hey everyone, welcome back to my latest rally trapping video. In today's video, we'll be going over how to build a rally trap, kind of everything you need, and what's the most important things to focus on your account. So the first thing actually we're going to go over is just what stats you need, how to look at your stats, all that stuff. So some really basic stuff here. So the first thing I'm going to do is go into the battle configure here. It's a great way to switch around your stuff and all that. So your talents here, it does auto put attack on everything, so it doesn't put any HP. I would suggest actually putting HP in your set, so don't follow this exact one, but I would. Actually, I'll show you my talents later, but I will show at least go HP, go the 3 top attacks here. And then after that, you can decide which ones you want. Do you want more cav? Do you want more infantry? Do you want more range? Do you want a little more HP? Those are the ones that are kind of optional, and then you can go down here and add more. But I would suggest at least maxing out these 3 here: squad, HP, range, cav, infantry, and then kind of add what you need more of after that. And again, this is super basic stuff, so it's whatever stats you need more of. You can decide what your account needs and all that. Nowadays, most people go either cav or infantry blasts. They're very high in infantry for mix attack, so cav attack is probably pretty good to have on your account, and range attack is pretty good as well. Infantry probably not the most important, but you still need the infantry attacks. Don't get me wrong, you still need it. So let's go into the stats and look at our stats and kind of look at how to read stats. So on the left side, you'll see kind of these yellowish stats. These are your base stats. These are the stats you have without your leader. Most of the time you are trapping, you will have your leader, so it's not super important to look at those ones, but keep in mind, these are stats that don't get affected by your talents. So if you don't have your leader, you do not have your talents. Keep that in mind. Don't listen to IGG support or whatever. You don't have it. I've tested it many times. You do not have your talents if you don't have your leader. Also, you do have your Fury stats. Fury stats do add to your base stats. So if you don't have your leader, your Fury stats will add to your base stats, and then all the other stuff. And we'll go over what stuff actually adds to base stats and what gives you stats and all stuff like that in today's video. So keep in mind there. And then on the right side, you have your green stats. These are your stats with your leader, so that includes your gear and your talents. Those are the 2 things that add to that one. You'll see on your right side, and the left side is your base stats. So gear, that's what the green stats will be. Your talents will also add to those as well. So let's scroll down here. So you have your attack stats. Attack stats are very important to focus on because attackers nowadays have very high HP and defense. So if you don't have enough attack, you're not going to be able to cap any rallies. So make sure you really focus on attack. Next thing you want to focus on is HP, because HP gives your kind of troops that beefiness and all that. And defense is good as well. It's just not as good as HP. So when you're focusing on building your stats, go attack, HP, defense last. You do need all of them, but that's just the focus on them. So, and then the other thing that you really should kind of look at is this counter boost here. Infantry range counter boost, range cav counter boost. This is at the bottom here. I can put it at the top here as well. So now it's at the top. Those things is what you need. So there's 3 ways to do that. One is in research, you get 30%. One is a familiar, which is Jade Worm, which gives you 15%. And the other one is Chronicler, which is a hero boost, which gives you another 15%. They're all passive. That means you have at all times. You do not need to have them on your wall or using as anything else to get those stats. But this is probably the one thing you want to focus on if you're going to be spending any money on the account. Make sure you get counter boost. If you're buying an account, look to actually get the 60% counter boost. It is super important. It will allow you to do things that you can't do without it. It just adds so much damage. Trust me, it's probably the one thing you really need on a trap account. It's not something you can get as free-to-play account, unfortunately. You can get Jade Worm. You cannot get Chronicler as free-to-play because you can get Jade Worm through Guildfest over time, but there's no way to get Chronicler as free-to-play as of now. So yeah, you'll see that on my free-to-play account. I don't have Chronicler, but I do have Jade Worm. So anyway, so next you have your army stats. I'll put them at the top here. These are also the exact same stats as above here. The only thing about army attack is instead of, you see up here you have infantry, range, cav, and siege. Army attack gives attack to all of them evenly. So if you have 273% army attack, basically you add 273% onto each of these, infantry, range, cav. So army attack is better than infantry attack, let's say, or any of these, because it adds to all of them. So if you have a choice to get one army attack or one infantry or one cav, go army, because it's technically giving you one infantry, one range, and one cav. It's better. Same thing with HP and defense down here. It will give you 1% to everything. So this is very important. If you have really good army stats, if you have really good stats up here and really bad army stats, you might not be as strong as you think, because army stats do add a lot. Obviously army stats are very hard to come by as well, so there is that. We'll go over all the things that can give you these things, but again, those are really important. And then the next thing as a trap you probably want to look at is debuffs. So debuffs is interesting because it really depends how low you want to keep your account. Because debuffs is about 120 million might. So if you want to keep a really low might account, maybe debuffs is not the thing you're looking for. If you plan to not run anti, get debuffs, because your might doesn't matter at that point if you're not going to run anti. So if you plan to run anti, maybe don't go for debuffs, because you can get 120 mil worth of troops. Instead, if you plan to not run anti, 100% go debuffs. They're super important. You get 10% from your research, and you can see I've got an extra 3% here. That is from a castle skin, and that is super pay to play. So you'll at least get the 10%. If you can get the 13%, it's great, but that's a lot of money, keep in mind. Counter boost, it's not a ton of money, but it is money. The extra 3% debuffs is actually a lot of money, because I think it's a $99 skin, plus you got to get all the what's it called? The things that level up castles, forget what they're called. Whatever. Again, you need a lot of them. It took me a long time to get that one on this account, but it obviously adds a lot. Because if you guys don't know how debuffs work, so I'll go over how debuffs work. Debuffs, basically, they reduce the total attack by that percentage. So let's say someone has 1,000% HP. For example, if you have 10% debuff, you're taking 100% off their HP. You're not taking 10% off, you're taking 10% of their total off. That means if they have 1,000, you're taking off 100. So again, the stronger the person is, the stronger debuffs are. So same thing with attack. Unfortunately, the skin doesn't give attack debuffs, but it does give HP and defense, which can allow you to cap much easier. So if you're wondering how on earth are you, Duck, capping people in your monster hunting gear when you only have like mid 500 stats, like you shouldn't be capping these people. It's because I have full counter boost and I also have full debuffs on this account, so it's very important. Well, also I have really high base stats, so again, if you can choose between good gear and good base stats, I would go good base stats nowadays. It's just so strong. So next thing we'll go over is on here is your gear, because that's kind of important too. So we'll go over, whoops, that's the wrong one. Switch to the gear here. So if you can go for gear, this is pretty good gear here. Again, this is really pay to play gear. There's other options too. I actually have a fake set here, so there's a fake set here, and these are also good viable options for a set. So without any what's it called? I can't even, sorry, I'm blanking here. Without any art, what are those called? Fort boosts. Oh my god. Okay, without any fort boosts, these are my stats because my base stats are so high. So again, this is no fort boost. I'm almost 700. Yeah, with forts boost, I'd be over 700 mix. I have over 700 cav, 720, almost 700 infantry, and 677 range with no fort boost. So, and that's just the power of base stats. So like I said, you don't even need good gear. As long as you can get good base stats. It really helps out trapping. You can do crazy things like trapping your monster hunting gear. It's just so much easier to bait if you have good base stats. But again, they do cost money sometimes as well, but I'll go over that as well. So next thing you want to go over is familiars. So there's a bunch of different ways to go over familiars, and that will be very comp dependent. Obviously, if you're running a tiny comp like me, you can go these pack 5 familiars, which are pay to play familiars. They do a ton of damage when 4% of your troops go, and capping is super easy. If you go Jade Worm also has a familiar skill, which is great because it will reduce all damage by the enemies by 9% when 4% of your troops have fallen. So all of a sudden you're taking 9% less damage, which is a lot. It could be hundreds of thousands of troops that you're saving just from that one familiar popping. The other things you could go, I don't have a lot of non-pay-to-play ones here, but actually let's just get out of here and go to the familiars and take a look at them, because I think we're done for gear. And again, let's go back to gear 1 second. So gear, if you're looking at gear, same thing with my this one here. You're basically just looking for attack stats. There's a bunch of different ones. The best in-slot non-champ piece is going to be the Skull Crusher. The best in-slot non-champ helm is going to be the Bumblebee helm. So go Bumblebee. It's better than the Beast helm for stats. If you can, Champion is going to be the best in-slot for pretty much everything else. So if you want to spend a lot of money, go Champion. If you don't want to spend a lot of money, go regular level 60 stuff. Firewall Plate here is going to be your best non-champ piece, and even this account has that at Tempered 12. So, and then Cups are probably going to be your best bet for best non-champ piece. Rings are viable for non-champ pieces as well. They're not as good as the Cups. And then Scrolls are, again, another kind of free-to-play way to get good stats because they give army stats in there. So those are kind of the gear you're kind of looking for, but again, I would focus on base stats nowadays. It's so easy to get them artifacts. I'd just put everything there. It's sneakier way. You can have worse gear, still cap, all that stuff. And again, this is Champion, so. And again, jewels, just go mixed jewels. I have mixed, I don't even have jewels in my real mixed gear right now because I'm using my fake gear, just because I have such high stats in this. Just go, when you're going jewels here, I can't even change my jewels in here, but just go in infantry, a range, and a cav. If you have champion jewels, you can add them, but I like just having the extra attack. It just makes capping easier. And then I also have a Monster Hut set as well, if you guys are wondering, which also has jewels in them. So there you go. There's my Monster Hut set. And if you want to know the current stats without forts, that's my without forts. Obviously with forts, I can get up to close to 600% on that as well. So again, so that's the first swing. Okay, so let's move on from there. Let's look at some other familiars you could put on your wall for defending. Something like a Nosseros is okay. So something like this is viable if you have a specific front line you like to take hits in, or it's your biggest front line. Because if you have 5% of your troops fallen, you get an extra 60% attack and 60% HP in that one. So that one can be okay if that's your front line. There's also Shield Fams, which is a pack 4. That's also a viable option. It does add a little bit of might, but I'll just go through them very quickly. Where's the... Oh, that's pack 3, sorry. Pack 4. I haven't unlocked it. That's why. Okay, let's just go pack 4. Choose the Saber Fang. Is this one? Yeah, this is... Okay, so how these Shield Fams work is basically when... what is it called? So when 12% of your troops fall in, so again, you have to have not a massive front line, so this is not for massive front line things. You'll get a shield for 7% of your troops. So let's say you got, what's a good front line? Like 10 million. If you lose 1.2 million in that front line, it will now shield an extra 700,000 troops from being killed. So they have to kill an extra 700,000 troops before any more get injured. So it's a good one to have for a front line if you decide to go that way. It's great for actually tier 3 front lines, which we'll go over today as well. But anyways, let's move on from the familiars. So those are the good familiars. Let's go heroes on your wall. So what's a good hero to have on your wall? So there is the pay-to-play ones, which this one is gone. So We have Berserker here, which gives HP or army attack, army HP, and army defense. So if you can get those are the best. Watcher is technically a free-to-play one, which gives you army attack and army HP. So for free-to-play, it's the best one you can get. Then you can go Berserker. There's Songstress of the Sea, which is another one. Again, this is a pay-to-play one. Another pay-to-play one is Stormfox, and another pay-to-play one is Loreweaver. So that's the best, let's say, pay-to-play thing. So let's just, well, there's one more, but I don't have that one. So, okay, let's take those off and then do the best free-to-play. So best free-to-play would be probably have Watcher on there. Then what you could do is go Rose Knight, which Rose Knight has army attack and cab HP, so some HP and attack. If you have, for whatever reason, somehow you got, where was it, the dragon guy? Do I even have him? Okay, I don't even have him on this account, but you can do that, but good luck getting that free to play. You have to do a bunch of dragon ones, but you could do it. It's hard to do on a trap because you're probably not going to be doing a lot of hell events and stuff on traps. So the other pay to play one is Dream Witch, by the way. So I just don't have that one. Didn't need it because I had Watcher. So free to play, and then it really depends what your front line is going to be and all that. So anything that has, let's say, Demon Slayer here has infantry attack and infantry HP. Those are the ones you're looking for, attack and HP. So if they don't have army attack, you're looking just for attack and HP, not attack and defense. So Demon Slayer is a good infantry one. Oathkeeper is a good infantry one. You have Snow Queen is a good range one. Where is this? Child of Light's a good cav one. So you can put those on depending on how you want it. And then you also have, where's Bombing Goblin? So Bombing Goblin, if you want some more attack, it doesn't have any HP for Bombing Goblin, but you do get a bunch of army attack, so you're getting 20% of each attack. So if you want another attack one, that's a good one to go on. And at this point I have one cav, one infantry, and one range. So it really depends what you want. So do you want a little bit more infantry attack and damage? You can put something like a Demon Slayer on here. And let's say you're running a ranged front line, you want some more HP, you might want to go Snow Queen. So it's something like that. So it's up to you what you want to go there, but those are kind of the best heroes to go. And then obviously my setup here with all army attack heroes. And then, yeah, so anyways. So let's move on to some other stuff. So now we know how to set up our wall. We know how to set up our what's called talents, sort of. We know what kind of gear we have. Like, where do we get all these base stats? So I've done a video on this, but I'll go over it again. Also, we should go over research too, I guess, because you're probably looking like, what research should I do as well? So, and then what troop comp? So, those are important, but I'll kind of go over that stuff right now. So, military, you do want to max out your military thing. So, make sure you max this out. It has, if you're going Rally Trap, 100% you need to max this out because you have your counter boost at 30% at the bottom. Very, 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 very important. Like I said, it's one of the top things you need to get in there. And then you get your tier 4 troops. So at this point, you have a decision. Do you want to stay tier 4 trap or do you want to go tier 5? Tier 5s adds 80 million might to your account. It adds 10% base stats, and it gives you the chance to unlock tier 5. So it really depends how many troops you want to run. As you can see, I don't run tier 5 at all on this account, and it's perfectly fine because I have good stats. You could go tier 5. It's a totally viable option. That is totally optional, and you should do what you want. Economy, you do have to do the economy tree here to unlock tier 4. Defense, don't do defense at all. Monster Hunt, optional if you want to monster hunt. If you're going to be pay to play, you do not need to do it at all because you're going to be buying all your stuff anyways. If you're free to play, you might want that because you do probably need to monster hunt to get stuff. So upgrade defenses, don't even look at it. Same thing with this defense, just completely ignore they even exist. If you're buying an account, make sure that hasn't been done because that's wasted might, wasted research. Don't have that. Upgrade military, this is where it's interesting because you have a choice. Because if you want some more marches, let's say you're griffin trapping, that's swaps. You have some quick swaps in there. How many quick swaps do you want? Technically, you only need 2. If you want more, you can get those two just for quality of life and stuff. It does add a little bit of might, but that's really all you're looking for in this whole thing is the quick swaps. So that's pretty much. You want more quick swaps or not? The subsidies and stuff, it's okay. It's just for like healing and stuff, but or building more troops. It just reduces the amount of resources you need. It's not very important. Army leadership. So this one can be very important. So this is where you unlock your formations. So you will need to actually do some of those. You probably want to unlock your wedges too. Just have the option. And then there's a choice. Either you stop here. If you're going to be trying to be a small account and run an anti-scout, you can just stop here and build a lot more troops. If you do not want to run an anti-scout, 100% just go all the way to the bottom here and get your debuffs. This is where your debuffs are. You get 10% of each. Super strong against maxed accounts. If you want to run, like say, a smaller troop comp and just really good base stats, I would say these are mandatory. Get mandatory for those kind of comps. If you're trying to run an anti and you want to run low base might, maybe avoid them because they do add like 120 million might to get all the way down here. So maybe just don't go down there. So next one, we'll go over to military command. So military command is not needed. As you can see, I've only got breakthrough. Breakthrough is just needed to get mythic equipment. And there's not much might in here. It's like 70k. So, and there's really nothing you really need down here. Like, there's some stats in here. It's just way too much might for that unless you're going like a lead account, like a big lead account. And we're traps. We don't need this stuff, so don't even go bother. Don't go past that. That's as far as you need to go there. Familiars. This is where you decide if you're going to go pay to play. You don't even need to do this tree. This tree is like, you don't even need to unlock these, because if you're going to go pay to play and go pack 5s, like this tree is unneeded at all. If you want to get those pack 4s or the pack 3s because you want to be free to play and actually have some familiars on your walls, yes, you will need to get them. Pack 3 is for like the Nostros and stuff, the HP and attack ones. And if you want to go pack 4, that's for the shield fams. This is an extra like 40 million might to get this, so keep that in mind. For might wise, you're basically just getting down here just for the shield familiars. And it really only works for kind of reinforcement traps in tier 3 front traps and smaller comps. So if you're running like a 50 million troop front line, you don't need these. If you run like a 10 mil front line, sure, you can get these ones. They do work pretty good. So that's up to you. That's totally optional, and you kind of got to decide what trap you want to do there. So for familiar battles, okay, so this is how many familiar slots you want. So how many familiars do you want on your wall? I would go max 4 if you're trying to be a trap. Max 4. You do get some familiar attack in here, which is good. It gives you some base stats. These are stats I didn't talk about, but these are just stats when you have familiars, and you will always have familiars on your wall, so you'll always get these stats. So these are actually good to have, and you get some extra good ones going up to slot 4, so you can go all the way up to slot 4. Slot 5 is like an extra 100 million might, so maybe don't do that, because it's not worth the extra slot. But slot 4 is worth it. If you want to stop at slot 3, that's okay. But if you're rally trap, I would say at least 3 slots, and you get some extra stats if you go down to the 4 slots, so it's worth it. Plus you get a 4th familiar, so that could be definitely worth it. So definitely think about that, but 3 or 4, that's pretty much. Don't go 5. 5 is for big rally leads, and you're not a big rally lead, you're a trap. So anyway, singles. Singles, you can go here just because it gives some extra stats. I wouldn't go really past here. I wouldn't even go to the helmet sigil. You're just basically doing this tree for the first part here, which gives you 15% attack. And again, base stats. Really good here. Again, these are not mandatory to have. It's just a way to get some extra stats in your account. Wonder battles here. You don't need to do wonder battles at all. Don't even look at that tree. Completely ignore it. Gear. This is tier 5. So whoever built this account to start off decided to go central command to get more battalions. That's just because this is a mini lead, so it does need more of them. But this is actually the one thing you don't need in the tier 5 tree. So it's literally the only thing you don't need to do, and it's the only thing this person did on this account when they first built it. So yeah, totally ignore this. This is not needed at all. So don't do that one. But everything else is needed other than that one if you want to get your tier 5 troops. Tier 5 does come with some extra HP, defense, and attack, up to 10% more. So you get some base stats, but keep in mind this tree is 80 million might, so if you don't want the extra 80 million might, don't go for Tier 5. And again, I don't feel Tier 5 is needed in the current meta for trapping. You can still go just Tier 4. Advanced Wonder Battles. So if you do want some extra base stats, again, there's some easy attainable extra base stats in the Wonder Battles here. Gets up to 10% attack. Same thing with the other one. You do not need to go past the attack ones here. Just stop here. It's some extra might, but where are these up to get up to 10 anyways? It won't even tell me. Oh, it does tell me the might. Yeah, it's an extra 500k for each of these. So if I want the extra HP and defense, it will be 1, 2, just an extra. It's 3 million might. I could probably go that. It does give me 5% HP and defense. Might be worth actually doing that, but I'll take a look at that later. But yeah, so it's not a lot of might here, so it's okay to go these ones. And that's it for research. That's all you got to do. So we'll go on from there. So that's how you get good base stats and all that. For research, there's other options to get base stats. Keep in mind. Again, I did go a whole video, but I'll quickly go over it here. If not, go look at the other video on how to get base stats. Actually, I'll add one more thing in today's video, but so again, familiars do have extra skills here, which do give base stats. So take a look at these and level them up. And that's one way to get base stats, is just adding these skills in these familiars. Next thing is you have your Verge Way here, which you open your chest, and it is the most tedious thing ever. And I totally forgot about it for the longest time, and I'm just starting to do it again. But there is an extra like 10% base stats you can get in Verge Way, so from these things, and you can see the boosts here. Oops, that's trap attack. Yeah, you can get some extra attack, HP, and defense in these. So I would suggest doing them because it's free to play, and it's just going to take a long time to get them. Obviously, artifacts is probably the most important thing you want to actually focus on for base stats. If you're going to be spending a bunch of money on your account, just put it all into artifacts nowadays. Well, I mean, you're probably already doing like the weekly and stuff packs and like that. Those are the most efficient. But if you have extra one, probably just put in artifacts as well. There's so many base stats here, because just look at all the stats I'm getting from just my artifacts here. Where is it starting? Yeah, you can see I got 69, 78, 70 for my just base stat attacks. You can see the HPs here and defenses. You can see just for my with leader, I'm gonna get an extra. These boxes can screw off. Infantry, I'm getting 46. Cav, I'm getting 54. Range, I'm getting 54. Defenses here as well. HPs, and then Battle Fury stats as well. You can see I'm getting like hundreds of percentages of attacks just from artifacts. And you should probably follow my building videos, because I do go over like the most efficient ways kind of to build these up. But basically what you want to do is take the book here and then divide that by how much attack it's actually giving you, and that will just decide what's the most efficient way. I would completely ignore blues other than actually getting stars on them, because you do require the shards, so you can actually do the purples, and then you need the purple shards so you can do the golds. So I wouldn't level these up at all, really. It's kind of a waste. There's not enough attack. Whoever built this account blessed a what's it called? A blue one at one point. It's just a waste. Don't do that. Don't do that. just level them up. It does give some HP here, so it's okay, but it's kind of a waste of books in my opinion to even level these things up. So ignore blues whatsoever, other than the stars, because you do need them to get purples, and then you need the purple ones, the shards, to get the gold ones. So for purple ones, you can level these up to like level 6-ish, the attack and HP ones, and you do want to max star them. I would not bless them, by the way. How much is it to bless these things? Yeah, you're only getting like 1.2%, and you're blessing it, wasting a bunch of stuff. It's just save them for the gold ones, because the gold ones give you the most efficient stats. Yeah, just look for accounts. If you're trying to buy an account, look for an account with good artifacts, because that will be the ones that give you the best base stats. And hopefully they built it efficiently, or you're going to have a bunch of extra levels that you didn't need. So So I built it as efficiently as possible. Maybe other people don't, but I'm not going to go through every single one of these. This would be a whole other video by itself, but put a bunch into artifacts and get a bunch of stats and just look at the stats you're getting from these things. It's insane. It's more than you're getting from your gear a lot of times. So nowadays artifacts are just best. That's why I said gear is like blah anymore. You just do artifacts. So there's another way to get base stats, and those are just heroes. There are some, actually, Chaos Dragon, there it is. I just haven't hired it. I guess I haven't. I just haven't bothered even getting it. So here's Chronicler, again, the hero that gives the counter boost. This is one of the ones you really want to get, and if you're buying an account, make sure it has this at gold. And then where's our base stat heroes? Where are they? Here you go. Here's the first one. So Shield Maiden is the first one, and again, these ones give you base stats at all times. So these are in your castles and all that. So you're getting your infantry attack and your infantry defense. Yeah, so this is in your castle. You do not need this on your wall to get these stats. These are passive stats that you have at all times. So Shield Maiden is one of them, gives infantry. You have Sage here that gives range. Then you have Necro Duke, which gives cav. So those are three of the same ones, pretty much the same thing. I have all those maxed. The next one we're going to look at is Magnemoid here. Again, gives infantry. Then Boomeister, you actually get from doing Dragon Arena. So do Dragon Arena, gives some army attack. One of the best heroes you can actually get because of the 10% stats you get on here. That's not one of them. That's not one of them. Where's the next one? Again, I don't think I have the other ones gold yet, so there you go. Sorry, go back. Wave Crasher. So Wave Crasher I don't have maxed yet. Another one that does give base stats. If I get it up to gold, it will have an extra 6%, which would be really good. And then let's see here. Cook, Witch Doll, Dream Witch, Alchemist. So this is the last one. The one I actually have least of, but again, these are pay to play. If you're wondering how to get these base stat ones, you gotta buy them. So if you're buying an account, hopefully it has them, and just look for accounts with really good base stats. I would suggest if you're trying to buy an account, do that. If you're trying to build your account, yeah, you can slowly get these. Just slow roll them at 5 at each. And if you're doing free to play, ignore everything I'm saying. You're not getting any of these stats ever. So. And then this one is the new one from the, what's the thing, the GE thing, Guild Expedition. So just starting to get this one. But again, this is going to be just as good as Boonmeister. It's just going to take a long time to get it. So again, those are your hero base stats. And again, Castle Star, or Castle Skins. Yeah, that's the other thing that I was forgetting. So Castle Skins, as a trap, you probably don't want to get a lot of them. Again, this is kind of a mini Titan, so I actually have a lot more than a normal person would, because it kind of gives away how strong you are if you have a bunch of Castle Stars on it. It's just how it is. So, but if you guys don't know, Castle Stars equal stats, base stats. So this one gives cav HP and attack. This one gives range. This one gives infantry. So you get the pattern here. So they're going to give you HP and defense. I wouldn't get a lot of these. Just do the attack and HP ones if you do. And then there's some really good ones like the cast. This one here. This is a very, 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 very expensive. So you don't have to have this one, but it is really nice to have. And this is the debuff skin. It gives 3% HP and 3% defense, which can equal a lot of HP and defense if you're fighting someone strong. And again, this is super pay to play, so ignore this. Ignore this if you're a low spender or a free to play account, but try and get this one if you can. If you're a high pay to play, sorry, don't waste your money on that if you're a low spender, because that's a lot. Especially, I mean, I think it's $100 to get the skin, and then you got to get all the levels on that, and you're spending an extra couple $100 on that too. So, yeah. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all for base stats. So again, you really got to focus on here in your artifacts. If you're doing that, hopefully if you're looking for an account, try to get some good ones there. And after that, we'll go troop comp, I guess. Troop comp is pretty simple. you basically want your high tier troops, which is basically your troops that are be doing all your damage. If you're a tier 5 account, that would be your tier 5, but tier 4 is also still good. So this really depends how big you want to be, if you want to run anti, all that stuff. There's a bunch of different troop comps out there. But the basis behind it is you have your high tier troops doing all your damage, and then your low tier troops basically soak up the damage and are your kind of your frontline beefy troops. Well, not super beefy, but your expendable troops that you kind of soak up all the damage with. So I have really good stats, so I run a small comp, but not really, because I got a ton of tier 4 on this account, and it does a lot of damage. So if you want to do that, run a high tier 4 troop comp, and it does a lot of damage, trust me. And there's also, you can either run a tier 2 or tier 3 frontline. I've kind of going back and forth between them, and the tier 3 is really beefy. It's really good against attacks. You really don't take much damage. It is a lot more might, but if you're not running an anti, I would suggest a tier 3 frontline. If you're running an anti, just go tier 2, because it is less might and you have more troops then. So that's kind of it. If you want to run pack 5s, it's also good to run tier 3 because you don't have to have as many troops. So yeah, so that's kind of a comp. You can if you have the same stats as me, you can copy this. If you have way worse stats than me, don't copy this, add a lot more troops. So either add just more tier 2 as the front line, or just add some tier 5 as well. I mean, 4 mil of each tier 4 is kind of where you probably don't need more than that. So don't be running like 20 mil of each tier 4. 4 mil of each tier 4 is a good number, and then you can add a lot more tier 2 if you want a bigger front line, or add some tier 5 on top of that. So that's pretty much comps. It's up to you what you want to run for those, and it really depends how you want to trap, because do you want to run an anti, do you not want to run an anti? So if you don't want to run an anti, run a smaller comp. Like me, you get hit a bunch. If you run an anti, you're probably gonna need some lower base stats, and hopefully you get rallied that way. So other than that, I don't think there's anything else I want to go over for how to build the trap. I've gone over the heroes, I've gone over the familiars, I've gone over your base stats, what you need, the gear, which honestly is not as important as the base stats nowadays, which I personally think. Then I've gone over your like wall, what heroes and what familiars you can put on your wall, and yeah, I think that's everything today. If you have any questions about trapping and stuff, put it in the comments down below, and maybe some topics you want me to talk about in more depth, because there's a lot of topics I can go over about trapping and all that. Just let me know in the comments down below. Other than that, hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next one.